I started to have all these spiritual experiences like starting that night. And then the next morning, I woke up and I was like, I don't know what that was. That was weird. And I start going to class and I see beautiful white light pouring out of everyone I pass. It was like
Oh,
everyone was a beautiful angel, like just white light. Like not just light, but also love. And I was walking down the street like, oh my gosh, everyone's so beautiful. I was like, how did I never notice everyone is an
I
angel?
saw an
Because I had a
alternate
timeline in
dimension.
my life that was crazy because I'd never heard of a timeline. Didn't even know that that was a thing. But when I was making a choice during these couple years, when everything was so ramped up, I like opened my computer to write and I saw and lived my entire life if I wrote this other book that I didn't write.
I'm Vicki. And I'm Dawna. And it's your time.
Hi, everyone. My name is Vicki, and it's your time. And over here is my lovely co-host, cohort. I cannot
Cohort.
talk today, Donna, which you might be happy about. And look who we
Look who we have
have.
today.
Okay.
Woo!
Yay.
Rebecca Castle.
Yes, we are so
Yay.
excited. I've been watching your stuff. So, well, I think I only found you about a year ago, so I don't know how long you've been on. But
Oh,
yeah, it was
about
really.
that long. I'm
Was
so
it really?
honored. When anyone tells me they
Oh,
watch my stuff, I'm so honored and I get to meet them. I'm like, this makes it worth it. Because I feel like I'm talking in my little corner here just to myself.
right.
So it's really nice to meet people that feel like it helps them. So
Oh,
thanks.
that is so neat. Oh, I'm so glad we can do that. And it's that, sister energy that it pulls us together.
Sisterhood. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. She is a YouTube influencer, I guess you
Oh,
call it, a
maybe.
spiritual
Well,
influencer.
I don't know about influencer, but
Wow. I feel like I've just gotten a promotion.
That's what
Thanks.
they call it. That's what they call it. Yeah. So anyway, and I had a spiritual awakening and started showing, doing things on YouTube, channeling and that sort of thing. And actually speaking to God, I think, right? Is that right?
Like, yeah, it started because I made a big promise to God and then I had a big spiritual experience. But when I channel, that seems a little like lofty, so I just say source or the angels,
Right.
which really
Right.
it's all the same energy of like
yes,
divine love. So
yes.
we
Yeah,
get bogged down in the words, but yeah, basically, yeah.
that's it. Yeah. So, and I've been watching, and you do one on Thursdays and one on Sundays. There are two different kind of
Yeah.
energies,
Yeah,
and that's all I've seen. Is there anything else? Am I missing anything?
that's it.
Oh,
I
okay.
do interviews that come up on YouTube like with y'all, so that's
Yeah,
about it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, so tell us about your spiritual awakening and your awakening and your promise to
Yeah.
God. That's
Yeah.
incredible.
What was that all about?
I know it's such a big word, but it changed my life completely. So I basically had a really bad trauma when I was 13, and went to a lot of therapy. And eventually the therapists were like, "You're fine." And I was functional in the world. I was always a good student, even with this trauma. I had PTSD, but I was like still could keep it together. And I went to a bunch of therapy and basically was dismissed. And I remember when I was 23, I said, I know I'm not fine and I want to heal all the way. And that's what really was started the wheels turning to have a spiritual awakening experience. Because at 23, I started doing things to try to feel my heart. That's just what I thought. It felt like something was on top of my heart. I wanted to feel what was under it. And so I was doing things to try to feel my heart. So I was learning, I was doing some prayer things. I was doing some yoga to be back in my body because, I was going to therapy in like the late 90s, early 2000s before there was all this like embodiment stuff. So I just was kind of making my own program, like doing that. And then I was also studying energy healing. I didn't believe in it. I came from a skeptical family. My dad was an MD, PhD. My mom's a psychologist. And but every time I went, even if I didn't believe in it, I felt better because I still, had talked about my trauma a bunch, but didn't have I still had like tangles of energy in my body that I was learning to like kind of feel and untangle and let love back into the parts of me that had been so wounded. And I was also writing my journal, Dear God. Like I would just write dear, and this is how the experience started. I would just write, Dear God, la la la, like I'm in school, or Dear God, blah blah blah. And I come from an interfaith family and I had no religious trauma. So it wasn't like a scary thing for me to write that. And it was just like me writing to my heart. And one night in 2006, after I'd been on this healing journey for a few years, I spontaneously devoted my life to God when I was writing in my journal. So I just had started my journal entry, Dear God, was writing about my life, and right in the middle of it, I was just started crying and wrote, I've decided to give my life to you, and whatever that entails, I want to be guided by you, by the light. This is my pledge. I will work hard to follow this path and to bring it to fruition. Please help me do this. Please help me bring light to other people. Thank you. Amen. And I was just crying, and this came out of nowhere. Just to me, it seemed like I just came out of nowhere. And then I finished my journal entry that I was living in Brooklyn at the time. I had a boyfriend, and I was like, okay, whatever. Like, didn't think that would do anything in my life, but a whole bunch of stuff happened from that night for the next 2 years. So from age 26 to 28, I had an array of spiritual experiences that I'll go into unless you'll have any questions. Yeah. Okay.
That's great. Other than where were you in Brooklyn? Because I lived
Um,
in Brooklyn too.
You did? Well,
Yeah.
I was actually a graduate student at Columbia University Teachers College, and I was living in
Oh.
Brooklyn. And A Course in Miracles was channeled at Columbia, and I'm just
Hmm.
like, is Columbia a portal? Because like I was up
Yeah.
there in grad school, like and had this crazy spiritual experience while I was there. Um,
I've had other people say, well, I think New York in itself, because of I think it's the bedrock. It holds a lot.
holds a lot of energy, and you can
Yeah,
catch the wave of any energy. And I think I caught the wave of the spiritual energy in 2006 before all this stuff was really going on.
right.
But it goes to show you when you really want to heal and you really want to feel your heart and you make these kind of big promises, like they're heard. They're not just going out into nothing.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
basically, that night when I was going to bed, I saw a light come over my bed. And it was a white light. It came from one end of the room to right over me. And it was like a wavy light. I think if I would have been able to see better, like spiritually, I would have seen an angel or something. But I just saw this light that came from one end of the room to right over me in the bed. And I was so scared of this light because it could see into my soul. And I could just feel like I was still hiding stuff and I didn't even know it. But this light was seeing right into me. And I was like, go away. I'm afraid. Go away. I'm afraid. And I just tensed up and said that to the light. And then I started to feel tingling come through my head. It was like a headache, but it felt like love and peace. And it kept getting stronger and stronger. And I had a boyfriend at the time. I looked at him. He was asleep in the bed next to me. And I was like, is he having this weird headache? Should I wake him up? Like, I don't know what's going on. And then it got so strong that I just relaxed into this beautiful, loving, tingling feeling. And I felt a voice come into my head that said, you don't have to be afraid, but if you are, you can wear a hat. And I put a graduation hat. Yes. Okay. So all this stuff is like, I couldn't have made any of this up. It was definitely from beyond me,
Right.
but it took me a long
Yeah.
time to accept. But I put a graduation hat into my mind's eye. And I know now, I think it was, I was going to be able to wear the hat of a graduate student. And maybe it was also like, you're going to be going through this till you graduate grad school, which is what happened. Um, but I didn't know that, and I just said right back to that voice that that was not a cute hat, and here's three other hats you could choose. And I was like, this hat's cuter, this hat's cuter, this hat's cuter, because I didn't know I was having a spiritual experience. So don't do that if you start having a spiritual experience. Like just listen to it because it stopped. The
Just
voice just
bargaining
stopped.
with it.
Yeah, I was like, why are you telling me that one? But like if you talk back, basically it stopped. But the point is there was no judgment. It was just like, okay, this girl's not ready to like actually listen right now. But I did like from that. It's not like the experience stopped, just in that moment, the voice stopped. And I started to have all these spiritual experiences like starting that night. And then the next morning, I woke up and I was like, I don't know what that was. That was weird. And I start going to class and I see beautiful white light pouring out of everyone I pass. It was like
Oh,
everyone was a beautiful angel, like just white light. Like not just light, but also love. And I was walking down the street like, oh my gosh, everyone's so beautiful. I was like, how did I never notice everyone is an angel? Because I'd been traumatized and I'd been healing and I'd never seen people this beautiful before. It also, I joke, but it was kind of true. It made it hard to date because I would go out with people and be like, you're amazing. Like, you're so beautiful. Like, it's true. And like, I had to get my stuff together eventually because it was like, it's like really beautiful to see people that way.
And not
yeah.
everyone is just ready to hear that.
That's
I know. And they're like,
especially people that have been traumatized,
Yeah.
like you said, you weren't ready at that moment. But
yeah.
yeah, but obviously this is set you on a path. That's
Yeah, it really, I mean, it also healed me. And all these other things started happening. So I started having psychic dreams that week. Basically, I think if y'all, I don't know like your spiritual background, but there's so many ways to look at it. But sometimes I'm like, did I just open my pineal gland? Did I just open my upper chakras? You know, and I made this promise and it was like, okay, you have access to all this part of your divine blueprint that you weren't really activating before. But like I started having these precognitive dreams that would come true and they've happened ever since. And like it's like basic stuff, like a friend will come to me in a dream and say something and then I see them in real life and they say the same thing. Like and or I had a dream about a car accident and then a few days later it happened.
oh.
Yeah, I had a dream about getting carbon monoxide poisoning and surviving it and then it happened, you know. And
Oh,
it was
wow.
it's actually really comforting because it's like it helps me feel connected. And those dreams, I still have normal dreams, but if a dream is going to come true, it feels like really bright, and it usually feels pretty peaceful. Like there's a spotlight in it. It's like a spiritual feeling.
Right.
And this was around the time, this was maybe a month or two in that I was like, I'm schizophrenic because I was also like starting to feel these angels around me, these light. Yeah,
I
my
always
dad was an
thought,
MD.
yeah,
He
yeah,
went through that too.
I did. And I even for a time I turned it off as a kid because my mom said, that sounds like schizophrenia, but you're too young for that. But
Yeah.
and she told me what it was, and I went, okay, no more.
No
And
more.
I
Yeah, I turned mine
because
off after it ended. Yeah.
yeah, I got the white light when I was young. I thought it was Jesus. Now, sometimes now I don't know if it was an angel or my ET guides or what, but
Or it could be all of it. You know, it's like
yeah,
almost
right.
like it's just human to want to categorize it because the light is love and it could be so many things. That's what, anyway, it's so
That's
beautiful.
beautiful. I love how you said that. The
Well,
light
I've
is
had to really
love.
think about it since I started telling my story because
Yeah.
it's like people want to know the categories. But my whole life, like this whole experience was beyond category. It was like the experience of pure love. Um, okay, so yes, I was like, I'm definitely schizophrenic. I had been raised in a scientific way, but my mom remarried, and this is all true. I know it sounds like exceptionally strange, but my mom remarried an indigenous man in my early 20s who came from a medicine tradition. So this just seemed like very random. I loved him though. He was like the first person that I felt like really saw me, like when I had been traumatized. Like he was so loving. And also, once I started having this experience, he started having all these dreams about me, like dreams that I was sitting with him in the sweat lodge and told him I knew how to go heal people now. Dreams that I was becoming an angel of God on the earth. And he was like all excited about this, but I wasn't telling anyone what was happening to me. And I was like, I think I'm going crazy, but like my stepdad is seeing this stuff
Hmm.
too in his dreams because he was tuned in. Now I feel like I know a lot of people who are tuned in, like the other experiencers, people like y'all. It's much more common, but back then it was just him and the shaman I found on Google, which was so.
Google's a wonderful thing.
Google's
So
wonderful.
when I was
Yeah.
in New York, it was 2006, and I was like, I heard my healer first friend talk about these people named shamans. I think I'm going to Google one and go see him and find out if I'm schizophrenic because I really wanted to talk to someone. And so I Googled shaman New York and I found this person. I actually had a dream about him before I met him. I had a dream about his whole office, what it looked like. And in the
Wow.
dream, I fell into his arms and he caught me. And that was one of the earlier psychic precognitive dreams because I go to his office and I'm like, oh, this is just what it looked like in the dream. I see the whole room and I'm like, oh, this was the dream. But I sit down and start talking to him and I just say at his table, I devoted my life to God. I saw a light. I think I'm schizophrenic. Do I have to drop out of grad school? So I was like, that was like my number one. Thanks y'all for laughing at all my jokes. Y'all are the best. But I was like, I really, that's actually what I said because I thought I have to drop out of grad school. Like, I'm schizophrenic now.
Like,
And
a
he said,
normal person can't
Can't
go to
yeah,
have these
grad
things
school.
happening.
yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
But
Yeah.
he said, we're all schizophrenic. The whole world is a dream.
Oh, that
So,
makes me feel good.
Oh, that's cool. That's
so he
true.
made me feel better because
Yeah.
he was like, we're all creating this dream. But at the time I was like, that makes no sense and I don't know what you're talking about. But I would go see him from time to time and he would help me just kind of integrate, like feel like, okay, I could still be a normal person and see these different things.
Mhm.
And I wasn't that many more things. Like I did feel angels around me for those whole 2 years. Sometimes they would step forward, sometimes they would step back, but I do feel like they're always around us. But just for these couple years, because of this promise and the trauma, like I was just super tuned into it. Like one time I was going to sign up to study abroad, and I felt two really tall angels on either shoulder. basically step forward and tell me not to do that, like as I was getting the pen to write. And it was just a very loving, just like, you don't need to do that. It was just a knowing. So now I really do believe like when we get a nudge in our hearts, it's like our angels talking to us, but we don't
Mhm.
always feel that. We just have to listen to our hearts. You think so
Yeah.
too?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And things like that are getting louder right now with these
Yes.
energies.
Oh, they
Yeah.
really are. The energies, dang, they're so strong.
Swirly.
Incredible. Yeah,
So,
swirly. They're
Swirly.
swirly.
yeah,
That's it.
Swirly.
I
And
love it.
people's other people are getting more intuitive things
It's
happening.
so
And yeah,
beautiful.
it
And I
is.
feel like I can be here for my friends when they start to have awakenings. And that's a lot
Yes.
of the work I do now is help people realize they're not crazy.
That's good. Yeah. You
Because
should
I
write
had
a
to do
book.
that.
You are not crazy.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
should call it.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
very
We're all
needed.
crazy.
We're all
That's
crazy. Okay. Well,
Because it
yeah.
is, yeah, like we,
Yeah.
anyway. So the few other things that happened, and then we can get to chatting more. But so I had a spontaneous, like mini life review when I was talking to my sister. I had hurt her feelings by accident. I had kind of dropped the ball on something that was important to her. And then when we talked on the phone, I could feel all of her feelings in my body. Like I felt her sadness. I felt how let down she felt. And it was like she wasn't even saying anything, but it really just felt like a gut punch. And I said, oh my gosh, I never want to hurt anyone like that again. And I just want to be kind. And so I really learned that we affect other people by what we do. Even if I didn't feel like I meant to, I wasn't being as attentive as I could have been. So that was a big
Yeah.
lesson. I saw an alternate timeline in my life. That was crazy because I'd never heard of a timeline, didn't even know that that was a thing. But when I was making a choice during these couple years, when everything was so ramped up, I like opened my computer to write and I saw and lived my entire life if I wrote this other book that I didn't write because it was like a bad choice. It was like, it just showed me, yeah, I could do that. But if I did that, this book would get published to bad reviews. And I like lived
Oh,
reading the bad review. Lived and saw the house I would be in. I felt how I would never recover. And it was just like it almost felt like it came out here and it was like this was what was going to happen if I did that.
wow.
Yeah, and I would just yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. It's wild. I had never heard of a timeline,
right.
but it's like, oh, this is a real thing. And I just closed my computer and I was like, okay, I won't do that. The last couple
Wow.
parts of it, I mean, I could go into more. I mean, the biggest
Oh,
part thing
sure.
was that I, okay.
Yeah. Whatever
If I
you want.
start rambling, you guys stop me,
No,
but I
this
know
is
that's why you
also
have.
interesting. I love it.
It's so funny because literally the whole time I was just in grad school and I was like trying to keep it together, talking to my stepdad, talking to the shaman, and otherwise just no one knew. I was going to class, I was running a lab, I was doing great in school, but we all have these inner worlds that no one knows about.
I was gonna
And
say, did you have any close girlfriends or anything at that time?
I had friends. I told
But
one of them one night in a bar, I was like, I saw a
okay,
light over my bed, and she was like, that's amazing. And I was like, yeah, I don't really like, I didn't know what else to say.
but you didn't go more into it. Like I'm seeing a
No.
shaman, and my dad is.
No, I did tell a boyfriend, like right after my experience ended, I told him the whole thing, and he was super sweet and understanding about it because he'd been raised religious but had kind of become an atheist. But he's the only person I told everything to until now when I'm talking publicly about it.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah,
I
I kept
thought
it to
that you had,
myself.
I thought that you had put some of your story out there, but I think it was
Well,
pretty
no, yeah, now I started to in
general.
2023, like when
Okay.
I was pushed, like really guided, like I had to start telling it. I didn't want to because I was so like I'd been really scared to do this. So, and
Yeah.
my trauma was like a public trauma where I was like bullied and humiliated. And so this is like
Uh,
bringing up all those feelings. But it's like I'm,
oh,
the victor in this side of the story. I'm the one
yes.
that's coming out and being myself and being brave. So,
Yes.
so anyway, the last little parts, thanks y'all, are I was having these nightmares, and this is kind of the most weirdly and kind of intense part of my story. And I would love to hear y'all's thoughts on like sleep paralysis and what it is. But I was just having these nightmares of these shadowy figures that would circle me at night after my trauma, starting at age 13. And I wasn't raised in a family that talked about demons, but I called them demons. And like that sounds heavy, but they would circle my bed and they would just taunt me and I would feel that sometimes I would hear this like noise, and I would just be so scared and I would be like, go away. I'm like, I would just tell them to go away and like never could move enough. And then finally, and they would come and go for 13 years. And finally,
Oh,
during my
wow.
yeah, it was a long time because I was really traumatized.
Yeah.
Even though I'd done all this therapy, it was like the only thing that would get them to go away was God, love. And I told them, anyway, I was awakened in the middle of the night during the part of my 2-year STE, spiritually transformative experience. I was awakened in the middle of the night with this shadowy thing circling me. And I was like sitting up outside my body, and this shadow was like trying to poke my heart and get into my heart. And I just remember suddenly I realized I didn't have to be afraid. And I looked right at it with so much like love and faith in God, creator, source, whatever you want to call that. And I just said, "You can't hurt me. God lives in me and works through me." And I was so relaxed. And that shadow like just went away immediately.
Yep.
And it never ever came back. So you've had this because it's like
Yes.
a lot
Yes.
of people deal with this, I've learned.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, and some people call them the shadow people, but I don't think
Really?
I feel like, I mean, now that I look back at it, I feel like it was, how do you say it? The polarity of
Hmm.
the angelic realm. Not, I guess that could be demons. I don't know what you want to call it, but it's a
Yeah.
polarity that is visiting you, and people say it's testing you or it's doing this or that or the other.
Yeah.
It gives you, it makes you face things, and it quickly released anything that I was holding, any traumas that I was holding when I finally got to where I realized who they were and what was going on.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really people though. With me, it was just like black blobs.
Yeah. And how did you get
Flying.
yours to go away?
I just did the same thing. I
Yeah.
got to a point, well, when I started my shaman training, I
Yeah.
understood them better. And I
Yeah.
just said the same thing. I am of love and light. You are not allowed to be here. You need to leave. And one of them even whew, right in front of my face, and I just laughed and I was like,
Yeah.
you can't get me. You have to leave. And they
Yeah.
haven't come back. But well, who
Wow.
knows? Or
That's so cool.
once in a while I see something black and I just say, I'm sending you light and love. And if you need,
Yeah.
and I've said that too, if you need my light to go somewhere, you may have some, but you have to leave and you cannot come back.
Wow.
So
That's
yeah,
great that you learned that.
well, and that's what I tell all humans that are so afraid of, oh my God, I saw a ghost. I just always tell them, you are the human in the 3D world. You are in charge of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
And
you
so
know, they
you
feed
took
off of,
charge. Yeah.
yeah, they feed off of fear. So the more afraid I was getting in all those nightmares, the more they were like, awesome. Like, let's circle around this girl. Like, when I was finally like, oh, I'm not afraid. Now, part of me likes the more psychological explanation from my family that it's like, oh, these were just my traumas. Once I
Right.
realized I was safe and loved, like it could go. But I think all of it's interesting. I've also read some shamanic cultures believe like, is it like you're helping spirits and once you conquer them, they become your angels? Like, I don't know if
Oh,
that's true or not.
neat. Oh, I
I've heard
like
all kinds
that.
of stuff and I'm fascinated because it's the weirdest part of my story to me. And I know that like in my family's background, it sounds like I'm schizophrenic for sure. But then I tell this part and people are like, oh my gosh, I'm dealing with that. Oh my gosh, these things are tormenting me. And
Yeah.
like whatever it is, love, whatever you think it is, love makes it go away. And
Yes, that's right. Love
yeah,
conquers all. It really
yeah,
does.
it's
I
amazing.
had some frightening experiences where I don't know what it looked like. I mean, now that I watch Supernatural or whatever, it looks like
Yeah.
one of those, what do they call them? The Tessa is one. When she's over the body, gonna take a Reaper. That's what I thought
Oh,
it was at the time,
ooh.
and and these things have happened, and even way back, I thought they were, I don't want to say it, extraterrestrials that are not on the good side. But that was a
Oh,
long time ago. Long
so
time.
interesting. There's so much to go into about it,
There
for
is,
real.
yeah. So, but that's the paralysis part. The shadow part was separate for me. So,
Interesting.
yeah. Anyway, this is your
Wow.
story. I don't.
No, no, no. I mean, I asked because it's so interesting. And like, think you and I both have gotten out of that. And I'm hoping anyone listening can learn also, you can too. Stop, don't be afraid and just trust in God, creator, source, love. Say how you want.
Yes,
It'll
whatever
it'll
word.
dissipate because they can't be around love.
Right.
Um, Anyway, so
Yeah.
fascinating. And then the story ended. But I saw a few other things. Like I saw an aura flash around a tree before it died. I felt like I would feel eclipses in my body. I just think I was like really like getting a little taste of what divine reality is like. And then I really thought in my heart of hearts that I was going to learn all this cool stuff and then I would just go to heaven. Like I didn't wasn't even raised with the concept of heaven, really, because I was raised like Jewish and I had some Christian, like really Christian family, but it was like, oh, well, I'm done when I'm done learning all this cool stuff, I'll be done here. This is awesome. Okay, cool, bye. And that didn't happen, obviously, because about 2 years into this whole experience, I had a beautiful dream where I was in my room at the time talking to this person who was glowing and the whole room was filled with light and we were just talking and I was saying life is hard, I don't know why I'm here, I don't know what I'm doing, and he was sitting and looking at me with all this love and saying life is amazing, you need to go have a good life, go have adventures, being alive is such a gift, go have a great life. And he was just like pouring all this love into me as I'm talking. And as he was saying all this and I felt all this love come into my heart, it was like, oh my gosh, what's your name and when am I going to meet you? Because at the time I was 28 and I thought this was my future boyfriend coming to tell me that I would like meet him. Like I didn't know what it
Sure.
was.
Oh, us women.
Yeah, I was like, oh
Yeah,
my gosh, you're
sure.
going to be the best boyfriend. You are so awesome. Anyway, and then he said, after I asked him that question, it was no judgment, just still so much love. He said, my name's Jonathan. You'll meet me when you finish swimming. And the dream shifted from me talking to him in my room with all this light to me being on a big ship, and I was lowered down into the ocean from this big ship. And I had to start swimming out alone into this ocean at night. And I woke up the next morning and it was over. Like I couldn't feel any more light. I couldn't feel any more angels. That was like the message,
Oh,
like go have a good life. Like you have like we brought you to the level of your promise and bye. And it was really, really hard for a while. I was like I was trying to I could feel like was this real? Was this not real? I would keep my heart plugged back in, keep plug it back out because I was like I don't know what was real or not. And then I also kept waiting. Like even the next, like a week later, I was like, I've got to be done swimming and I'm going to meet this guy. Like, and nothing would happen. And then a week after that, I'd be like, I've got to be done swimming. I'm going to meet this guy. But then, like, that's never happened. I realized like a couple years ago that he wasn't real and that he was an angel of some sort. So now I eventually moved back to the Louisiana after grad school. I ended up eventually living in a cabin on 100 acres of forest because I was like, so for a while I was really depressed. I cried a lot. I cried like, why would you leave me here, God? Like, why do you hate me? And and then I was also like looking for where the light would be because I kept walking around the forest and being like, is it here? Is it like if I walk, but I would never find it. And then I realized obviously it's in my heart. It's an internal experience. That was
Right.
the whole point of my experience. And but after I couldn't find the light for a few years, so it ended in 2008. And then I moved back to New Orleans from the woods in 2012 and I was like, I made all that up. I'm crazy. That was fake. Like even with my stepdad and all of that, and I just drank with my friends. And I was like, this is fine. I'm just gonna be here. And it also makes you a little like destructive to feel all that love and then still be here. And so I was just pushing it away. And then slowly over time, I reconnected. Um, and I got super, super guided to start telling my story in 2023, which is something both the shaman and my stepdad separately told me that I'd be like a public speaker or a teacher and that I'd have to be strong. But I don't know what y'all are talking about, but now I'm doing it. So
I don't want to talk about this stuff. People
I
think
know,
I'm crazy.
I
Yeah.
know. Well, it's so interesting because there's both sides. Like there's the religious side and then there's the scientific side. So the scientific side says psychosis. The religious side says the devil. I don't really
Yeah,
know what
right.
they say. I'm
Yeah.
like, it's such a beautiful
Some of them
experience.
do. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. That's what anytime anybody has ever said that to me, my answer has always been, well, it was God. To me, it was God. It was so beautiful. It couldn't be.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
don't give the devil more due than,
Than
God
he's
is.
worth.
Yeah.
Right. I agree. I mean, especially once you've experienced it, there's just so much deep knowing. It's not a mental thing anymore. But I think these experiences, like y'all's too, it's like doesn't fit in the box, and people get kind of freaked out if it's not in a box.
Right.
But it's the actual real experience of love. It's what heals. So that was my whole story. Thank you for
That
listening.
is so cool. Well, and there are so many more people that we're all in that box now. There are so many of us that are talking about it and
Yay.
bringing these things out. Yeah. And
That's awesome.
everybody's story is, although there are many factors that are the same, but everybody's story is different according to their own,
Mhm.
experiences
Isn't that
and
And
cool?
and we can't judge ourselves by other people's stories because we
mm-mm.
experience what we experience, and we experience things because this is on our journey. This is
Right.
for us on our path.
Right.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. It's so
Yeah,
true.
it's like and these things come to us at the right time. And if we don't pay attention, then that's when things like depression and stuff. I did go through a lot of depression in my 20s, 30s. I think it was like every 10 years, but it was mostly
Oh.
because of my diet.
Oh, really? Was it
Yeah,
affecting
it
you?
was, yeah, all the
Wow.
wheat and the gluten and
Mm-hmm.
the pesticides and whatever. And I was drinking too much too. I lived in New York.
Mm.
I mean, that's what we
Yeah.
did every
It's a big
Friday
culture
night.
there. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
let's go. There's so many
Yeah.
bars there. And there are other places and things to do, but yeah, we did a lot of that. But still, mine was not a big jump like that. Mine was little jumps, little things that happened until I was in my teens when I just turned it all off. I
Mm.
would have been considered an emo, I guess, but I wasn't, I didn't, it was before the goth thing happened. So I
And
was,
and and
yeah.
I had, I guess, and I didn't really have any of these types of things happen to me, but
hmm
I did remember, one big dream was when I was a child, and I would get scared in my dream and I would have a little paralysis. And still every now and then something will happen and I'll scream, or not scream, but make noises and trying to wake up
Yeah.
because my husband tells me. But when I retired, I said, okay, well, I'm going to get into this metaphysical stuff. And so it just kind of all came through that.
So
And I
cool.
started recording my own dreams and,
Beautiful.
taking all the classes, get into energy healing.
Yay.
But I went through a long period of my dreams of wanting to go home and not being
Hmm.
able to make it. Something was
Wow.
always keeping me here, and I could
Oh,
never catch that train or bus or plane or
wow.
whatever to go home. Something,
Interesting.
so it just
Home,
was,
like,
Yeah, yeah.
it just wasn't my time to go home.
mm,
But I haven't had those dreams in a long time.
so maybe you feel better here on earth. Was it home, like not your house in the dream? It was like
Yeah, it
home,
was
like
not my house.
source, like
It was
heaven.
it was another home that I didn't know
And you
about.
were like longing for it. It's so interesting because I've been thinking about this lately. We all have, like you said, Donna, different doorways to awakening. So sometimes it's like a lot of meditation, or it's a decision to learn about it, or it's childhood things, or it's trauma and healing, near-death experience. It's really amazing that there's so many ways and all of them can go to the same place.
Yes, it's so cool. And my huge impetus was grief when my parents passed. And it
That's,
was with
yeah.
a couple of years. My dad passed and then I was with my mom, and I'm so grateful I could be with her so much before she passed. And by the time she did, I had a handle on all this stuff. And I mean, I miss her like crazy, and she's still with me all the time.
Oh,
But
oh.
yeah, it is cool. And it was after my dad died that he really opened it up for me, but mine is more, I got into it more from the psychic side and the
Mm-hmm.
the medium side, where
Mm-hmm.
with the spirits and reading cards and that sort of thing, rather than, I mean, I did have dreams like that, but I didn't know what they were. So
Right.
yeah,
That's so cool.
but
I think it's just all just perfect and just exactly what we really each need as our souls to awaken. That's pretty
it
cool.
is, yeah.
So
So go
I
ahead.
have a question.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
What made you first go on YouTube? What was that?
Oh, well, okay. So I got started getting really strong guidance before YouTube that I needed to submit to speak at the International Association for Near-Death Studies, IANS, because
Oh,
my experience is really close to a near-death experience, even though I didn't die. My trauma was kind of like a spiritual death. So I started getting all these pushes, like I needed to do it. And I was like, oh my gosh, no one knows this about me. I'm a mom, I'm a speech therapist. Like, why? And I was like, fine, I will submit to speak. And I got accepted after never telling anyone except by one friend that I saw a light and this one boyfriend and this whatever. So, and I had never gone to a sharing group. I'd never, and so I went to the IONS in 2023 in Washington, D.C., and I got on a stage and I told my story. And it was like
Wow.
I think I hopped timelines into this.
Yeah.
I went through a huge ring of fear because I was having a panic attack. I barely slept because this had been buried in me and I'd been as solid as I could in the 3D world after all of this. But the psychic dreams had kept happening and I was like starting to reconnect to my experience and I did it. I did it. And after that, I started doing interviews. Now I love doing interviews, but in the beginning, 2023, 2024, I wouldn't sleep the night before. I would be like so nervous. I didn't know how to do my hair. I kind of am better at it. So it's like I
Oh,
was
it
like
always
I
looks
would
good.
finish. So so anyway, that was like then and then I guess around 2024 summer, maybe 2025, I don't remember. I just started going on YouTube and making videos. And then it was just kind of for fun. And then I was like, maybe I'll stop. But then people are like, oh, I watch every video you make.
Yeah. Yep.
So I was like, okay, I'll keep going. But the world has felt more intense. Like I started a couple years ago, maybe, but this whole year, like starting in the fall of last year, it's like heavy out there. And that's
Okay.
part of why I wanted to stop because I was like, do I want to be in this energy? But I think I'm supposed to be
You
kind
are
of like,
Right.
supposed to be. Yes.
yeah.
Right.
And I'm
Well,
sure you feel the same way being out there, right?
I don't know that we're out there as much as you are. I don't know.
Well, no, but we started this knowing that people were going to need
Yes.
some.
Yes. Event that eventually and eventually my guides are saying, eventually this will be not that you're going to make $1 million, but it will be a big thing that
Oh, that's
and
great.
slowly but surely, that it will happen as long as we stay in the light and
Hmm.
enjoy.
Enjoy spiritually aligned. Yes,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that's so, so important. That's beautiful. Yeah, I think as many voices like y'all's and ours that are full of love and not divisive, because that's what it is the internet can feel like it's the place where people
Mhm.
fight, you
Yeah.
know? And
Yeah.
so when we're putting out beautiful things, it actually can be quite beautiful. Like everyone on my channel is so kind and loving. So that's been really
Yes. Yeah.
nice.
And one of the things that really got me and Donna was we laughed so much together.
Yes.
Aw.
I enjoy her. I
Yeah.
just enjoy
Aw.
her so much.
That's so
And I
sweet.
thought we brought a different dynamic to
Yeah.
to
Amrit
the spiritual
Amrit said,
space.
yeah.
That's
Amrit said
awesome.
that. He was like, nobody's doing what you're doing. And I was like, really? He said, yeah, I don't know anybody who does. Although, sometimes two people will get together and do like you did, a live from, or maybe it was a video. So yeah, so let's
Yeah.
talk about that.
Oh yeah.
What you
Yeah.
got into here with
Yeah.
was it in South America? Where was it?
Yeah, I was in Mexico, in
Mexico.
Tulum, which is actually randomly where my great grandmother's from. So I felt like a cool connection with it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Random. That was like it wasn't that just happened.
Isn't that wild? Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, it
Yeah.
was kind of
yes, it
perfect.
is.
But my friend Betty, who had a near-death experience, she's started kind of this organization called The Wheel, and it's transformation in motion, and it's really just to hold space for people as we all go through transformation. And so part of what they decided to do, and I'm part of it too, was to put on a retreat. And so I got to teach at the retreat in Tulum. It was so beautiful. It was 5 days of transformation and people just bringing they came like, I have this job, but I want to actually be doing this, or, I really want to step into my spiritual side. And we all did all like a bunch of work, a bunch of sessions, and a lot of people are starting to transition into the lives of their dreams.
Oh,
It's really
wow.
cool. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's like my last thing on my bucket list is to stop having to have a day, 9 to 5 because yeah, unless I could do a 9 to 5 that is like this,
Yeah.
I would
Well,
do that.
who knows? I think it's like if you don't dream it, you can't have it. I mean, I
Yeah.
currently am still half-time speech therapist, half-time spiritual work, but I love those kids. And maybe one day I will stop doing that, but it hasn't happened yet. I think a
Oh,
lot of us still have our jobs,
if you
if it
love
makes you
it.
feel better.
But if
I
you
do
love,
love the children,
yeah,
but
yeah.
there's a lot of speech therapists out there and there's not as many like channel or angel people. Maybe there are, I don't know, but
I don't know. That's a good question. I'll ask my guide.
I was
So
gonna say I think there's more than we're aware of.
I
yeah,
well
that's
that
true.
too. And there are a lot of people that are like you that don't want to be out there, but they're watching all of us and going, yeah, that happened to me. Yeah. And, we're validating their experiences so they can step into their own power too. So,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
when you are channeling,
Hmm.
you said you don't know if it's God, angels, source, what it is. How does it come to you? This was Vicky's question. Maybe
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
has, she
Like,
can,
do you get visions? Do you get like words? Do you just get nudges?
Yeah. Yeah. So, basically, in terms of what I call it, I know that it's just a love energy. Sometimes I've gotten names like Healing Team of Light, but sometimes love just is what is love because they're always like names divide people. They can divide and scare and when it's really just love.
yeah.
So but I like to call it source. Anyway, um it feels like because of my STE, my spiritual experience, it's like I feel this like frequency that I can tune back into. Like I don't do it all day, but I'm like, oh, okay, like it's like that. I can just feel this love vibration and I
Mm.
just start to bring it through. And sometimes I've called it angels. It just it just felt like so much love. So yeah, and I just basically relax into it and a lot of it started with hearing words and also seeing pictures at the same time. But like the more I do it, it's just like it's not necessarily trance, but it's just like it's coming through me and I don't even know how it's coming through anymore
You
because
just
I'm
Right.
start talking and it just
It just
flows.
comes
yeah, it's like
out.
I'm one
Yeah.
with it. And it's like so beautiful. I love to help people with it. That's like the people really like the angel messages, like the Sunday messages more than my Thursday blabbing generally. But I also feel like it's a little weird from my background. Like part of me would literally, like I said in another interview this week, I would stop doing that tomorrow because my background is like, oh my gosh, like my friends probably think I'm
Oh,
crazy.
I know. I know.
But people tell me from around the world, like, thank you. I needed this message that's helped me. Like, I have a woman in the Middle East who's like going through bombings in her city and she watches
Oh,
every week. And every time I get like nervous to make one, I think of her. And I'm like, I will make this video for her, for y'all, like for anyone that really needs it. Um,
yeah, yeah.
so yeah,
That's so good. That's how I
yeah,
used to do at my job. I had a friend, I hated this job. I didn't, I was always negative about it in Brooklyn.
yeah.
And this lady that I worked with was to getting chemo every morning and she
Oh,
would come to work and she'd be on the phones and she'd say, hold on. She'd pick up
oh,
the phone again. And I saw that and I was like, well, if she can do this, I have nothing to complain about. And she's still alive and kicking. And yeah, oh
amazing.
yeah,
Wow,
she
that's
is.
so
She's one
cool.
of such a dear, dear friend. I mean, I only see her on Facebook. Hi, Leslie. But
Oh.
yeah, I don't know if she watches. She's very religious, so I don't know if she's very religious, but there's a certain, I'm putting things in
I
containers and I shouldn't
know.
do
That's what I've
that.
had to learn. It's just not all one size fits all. Because I have some religious people that love what I do, but then I'm like, I'm probably going to say something that might freak you out. But
Yeah.
because then I have some people that are very new age and like healery witchy. And then I know I'm like, I'm going to say something too religious, but it's just not about the words, right? It's like the
Right.
energy and the love. And I really try to stay there because part of my experience too is like I felt so close to everyone. It didn't matter their background. I was seeing their beautiful hearts, and that's what I try to stay in. But yeah, that's part of why it's been intense to be out here because it's like there is so much division in our world about of
There
that kind of
is.
stuff. But there's
There
also
is.
great unified people like y'all. So
Yeah, and that's what we're here for.
yeah,
I go into more of the esoteric, they're like I signed a contract to be here and that sort of thing.
I like that because then you're like, okay, this contract will be over soon. No, just kidding. No, I'm kidding.
Well, I did when they say like I don't know if this is true, but the two Earths or the two we're going into another dimension or what I'm not sure. I
The
don't know.
timeline
We'll see.
split. I kind of love
Yeah.
that idea. Yeah,
I
it's
do
interesting.
too. And then I think I'll feel bad about those but then what I thought of this morning, I was watching Heather Arnsworth on
Mm,
where she talked about the two, and I got this vision of the idea of that we'll be the guides. Like we
mm,
have guides, we'll be the guides for those people if
mm,
we want
mm-hmm.
to, you
Mm,
know?
cool. That's beautiful.
Yeah, so I was like, well, I could do that. I could come back and do that, but I really don't want to come back to Earth. I keep saying that. But then on the other hand, it's like, well, there's people like you, and there's so much love here and there's food and love and sex and, all that good stuff. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
so true.
Yeah, it is. So, yeah, so you did this. And you said you're going to do one next year, maybe?
Oh yeah, another retreat. I just got invited to go teach again.
Oh,
So
yay.
perfect timing. Like I was formally invited today. I'm so excited because it's kind of a exciting thing to do. But yes, it'll be in the spring. I think back in the same area, into the Tulum area. And if y'all are feeling called, we should have some information available. If I have that before this comes out, I'll send it to you. Otherwise, look
Okay.
up wearethewheel.com.
We are the wheel.
Yeah.
Okay. And then what other offerings do you have? Like you have a web page or what do
Yeah, I
you
have a
how
page and I have Instagram and a YouTube, and it's all under my name, Rebecca Kastl.
oh
Part of
that's
why I
easy.
did that to give you a little story is that I was bullied really bad to the point where I hated my name. And for
Oh,
me to, I know these boys, but I've taken my name back and I do all my healing and all my work under Rebecca Kastl, which is the name I was born with. So that's feels pretty empowering. And yeah, you can, and nobody has my name spelling generally, so you could
no,
come
that
to
I've
me.
never seen that before. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
great. I love it. I do. And oh, there was another question about we are the wheel. What wheel are they talking about? Do you
It's
know?
so interesting. It was really just the idea that Betty had, and I think our friend Jay Clay, who's a spiritual rapper who's awesome. Um, it's like, kind of like the Wheel of Fortune or just like the Wheel of Life, like that we all are these many things, but also it turns and we transform. It's kind of a really cool symbol spiritually because you don't think about it that much, but yeah, we are the wheel. And we do retreats. Like we have some groups that are in different cities. Like I have a monthly meeting in Denver where I live for the wheel. Betty has a monthly meeting in New York where she lives. So yeah, it's some local
Oh,
chapters and a lot of online meetings. So definitely you should link that because I think it might be supportive. All the online meetings are free, which is really
oh,
cool.
great. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know,
We'll
right? It's
definitely
like,
link that.
yeah.
Definitely.
So
That would, yeah.
what do you teach through the wheel?
It's kind of like a mix of whatever. So the online different communities, there's like just a sharing group. There is a Course in Miracles study group. There's been a dream group and different people also who are involved because basically anyone who's into this can start to be involved and y'all can too. You can offer workshops under the wheel based on what you're interested in. And I think some of the workshops are like paying workshops. And then yeah. And then the monthly groups, like the one I did in Denver last time was just spiritual sharing, but sometimes we'll have a near-death experiencer come and share their story. And it's really just meant to be kind of fun, supportive, like wherever you are, We talked a lot about OBEs at the meeting last month because a lot of people had them. I've never really done a lot of that. I don't know if y'all have, but it's pretty
I
cool.
yeah, I do. Yeah,
You do?
I do. I do everything.
That's so cool because like my
It's
experience sounds neat, but I don't do OBEs and I think those
yeah.
sound even cooler, honestly.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes they're just spontaneous. It just happens, but sometimes it's in a meditation where I actually did that when I was a kid and went to other planets and things like that. So, and
Wow.
people say, "Oh, what an imagination you have." And I'm like, "Yeah, but I was there."
I was there. I
And
know,
I
right?
always when I just remembered this, there was a picture of Jupiter that just came out where it's all blue and green. And
Mm,
all the pictures we see, it's orange,
yeah.
the one because we're so far away. I don't know. But I never saw it as that. But they said it was orange, and I'm like, it's Jupiter's not orange. And they're like,
Wow.
yeah, it is. I'm like, no, it's not.
Wow. And you're going to school and being like, hey guys, let me tell you the teacher that you're wrong.
I stopped because I grew up in
I've been
Canada.
there. Yeah, no,
Authoritarian. Yeah. You listen to the authorities and you shut your mouth. So.
I know. I
And there's
know.
no real way to prove.
Right. Well, now they have proven it. Was it the Webb telescope or I think it is.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
So,
That must
and
have felt nice because that's one of the things that I knew I wasn't crazy, like, crazy because the dreams were coming true. But also once I started doing sessions for people and I could say verifiable things, you're like, okay, like this isn't fake. Like you're like, okay, that wasn't fake because I was right about the colors before they came out
right.
with it.
Yeah,
So it's pretty
yeah.
neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was it was wonderful when I saw it. It was like a shock. I was like, and these memories come back and I was like, wow, I'm getting a lot of memories this week too.
Really?
So many people who are starting to awaken may be getting these dreams and remembrances of things when you're a kid. Although when you look at things now, and you look back, you think it is you. It had to be my imagination,
Right.
So, but when you get
Right.
validation like that, so when you do a session
Hmm.
with someone, it's where you're channeling for them. So you're
Basically.
giving
Yeah,
them information.
I sit in the space of the light of my spiritual experience creator, and I just sit with them. And it's either like messages are going to come through, if they're having pain, I do healing, and it's just whatever they need at the time. So I work with people from all kinds of things. Some people who've lost a child, or people who've trying to make a life transition, or they're having trauma come up, or they just want to know when they're going to meet the love of their lives. So, which I can't really tell people, but I can get some ideas.
I know that's usually what people want to know. When am I going to get a new job? When am I going to get a boyfriend? Yeah, they
Yeah.
ask
Yeah.
that.
Relationships and career are the big things. So, but yeah,
Well,
so
yeah,
stuff like that. Yeah.
I could see that. I mean, that's a very 3D thing, but it's a big thing for people, I think.
But what's
But
interesting is, yeah, like embodying the light that you are and truly living into your soul, all of that just comes to you. That's the
mhm.
thing. It's like you live in your soul. And I mean, I'm still working on that, but when you actually live into your higher self, like you don't have to pull at any of it. It just comes
It
at the
just
right
comes to
time.
you.
I
Yeah,
mean, maybe you have to envision it or ask for it, but yeah, it feels like it doesn't have to be a struggle.
yeah,
You know?
yeah. And I mean, I have so many lessons I could teach people, but I don't know what to call myself or. And if you say you're a shaman, then the religious people are turned
I
off. And if
know.
you, yeah, I mean, I say I have celestial helpers because I think they're extraterrestrials, but they may not be. They may be angels. They say they're light beings. That could be anything.
That is totally the truth. They are light. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it could be any of it. What do you call yourself now?
I just say shaman. I don't know. I have so many things.
She calls herself Dawna. She
Donna.
calls
Yeah, I'm
herself.
Donna because there's so much. I don't know. I just say, if you'd like to do a session, I can channel, I can maybe one of your past loved ones will come through. I've done
Yeah.
mediumship. And it's all this is might be something that I'm supposed to come up with because I keep asking this question of everyone.
Yeah.
What do you call yourself? And not that I
Right.
need to label it, but because if someone says they're a shaman, you know what that is.
What if you call yourself like an interdimensional guide?
Oh, that's cool. I like that.
I'm trying to channel for you right now. I'm like, what should she call herself? It was like not
Oh,
interplanetary, but interdimensional guide or something
dimensional.
like that. I mean, maybe that is going to be out there for some people, but you want the people that can accept these kind of words, you know? That's
That's
what I've had to learn
yes.
too. Like, I need people
Yeah.
that can be chill with whatever I'm
What?
doing.
Yeah. So what
So,
do
And
you just say?
we are all multidimensional. So
yeah.
yeah.
That's true. So you just say you channel
I mean,
angels? What?
I have like the accidental mystic as part of my thing, which we know there's no such thing as accidents, but I have speaker, healer, teacher,
Okay.
but like when I'm doing the work, I call them sacred soul sessions because it will be anything. It will be healing, it will be messages, it will be loved ones, it will be angels. And it's
Right.
really just flows with what the person needs. And now I'm just saying, it's just to get you back in touch with your soul. Because that's what I didn't have for so long, and that's what I got in my spiritual experience, and now I help people do that. But I mean, when I used to call it a reading and a healing, I would get tons of bookings for readings because people want to know the future. They want to know the reading. Now that
Right.
I'm like, get in touch with your soul, it's like, okay, like maybe I want that, maybe I don't.
And
Like,
Yeah,
it's not quite as
it's not,
popular, but
yeah, it's hard to pin down.
it
It,
is.
yeah,
you know.
but
It
it
is.
feels more correct. I actually received it in prayer to call it Sacred Soul Sessions. But I mean, it's all the same, really. It's the same exact
Yeah.
thing. It's just, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, other than as a shaman, I can take people on, journeys and that sort of thing, which is it's a different. And that's the other thing is like you said that you feel like this flow is over here on your right or your left. Where are you?
Well, it goes back and forth. Normally, I felt it on my right, but it's different energy on my left. But when I have other people's guides with me, they're on my right and mine are on my left. So,
Ah, okay.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
I think it's because I have that angel picture behind me, and this is where I do my
Oh,
work.
that could be. There you go. Well, that's
Yeah.
where they sit. They're just waiting. Yeah.
So, what about you? Is yours on your left? A lot of people say left.
My celestial helpers are right here correct. Right here,
Yeah.
yeah, on the left. Right here on the
Hmm.
left.
That's cool.
But people that are that have passed come to me on the right. Sometimes they'll come right up here because I'm like, where are you? I don't feel you. And then all of a
Right.
sudden it's like, wow, they're right
Right.
there. So,
That's so cool. It's
and
so
it
interesting.
depends. It depends on but I don't, I'm doing having so much fun doing the podcast. I just say I'm a podcaster.
Oh, perfect. Perfect. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yay.
yeah. But Vicky does energy, energy healing and
What do
meditation
I do?
and meditations. And it's
Yeah.
not just like learn how to meditate. It's almost like you take people on a journey of sorts in your
Wow.
meditations, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's all done by text.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
but it's
cool.
still
That's perfect for our day and age. That's what
it
people
Well,
look
is.
at.
it came to
It
me a few
is.
years ago, just as like it came to me during COVID.
Hmm.
I just felt so bad that there were so many people, my friends, who,
Yeah.
because we're all working at home. And, mainly I was thinking about the people who didn't have anybody. They
Yeah.
didn't have pets, they didn't have loved ones by them. They were just stuck in their homes. And I just
Mm.
wanted a way to connect. And
Yeah.
I got this inspirational idea and we did it for quite a while. And it's just I text, I send out, like just a little saying, and then we just kind of go quiet for half an hour together. And
Mm.
sometimes I'll do stuff on my end just to kind of bring the energy up and bring the vibrational um, patterns in. And then after the half an hour, I'll send out some happy, fun, lovely song for the next day. And
Mm.
because music's my deal. And
Oh,
Yeah.
that's beautiful.
yeah, and so I done it for like I don't honestly remember. It was like 2 or 3 years, and then it kind of just went away. And then
Mm.
a couple of years ago, I felt the need to bring it back.
Mm.
And now there's more people than there used to be,
Yeah,
but
That's
but
so cool. That's
but
it
we do it
is.
awesome.
every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday night. That's
Nice.
I have an
Awesome.
alarm on my phone that's going to go off
Mhm.
and then well actually you text me before it happens, so that's a
I
good.
text everybody before it happens
Yeah.
Oh, that's
because
awesome. What a gift. That's so beautiful. All of
It
these
is.
practices help make our planet brighter. I
That's
think
it.
it builds the light on the planet. That's
yeah,
awesome.
I just try and keep
Exactly.
people's energy positive. I just
Yeah,
wanted to
that's
put out some
awesome.
positivity into the world.
Yeah, it's really nice. That's
Yeah.
And
beautiful.
I also like the idea that you have, you grew up in scientific side of things.
Yeah.
And because that was, I mean, I'm not a scientist really. I guess, I mean, I have my plant experiments and things like that, but not, I'm not a scientist like that. But I've always been drawn to that, with my ADHD, I guess it helps me label everything really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, to look, oh, that's why this is, and the chemistry and biology and of everything. But yet my dad was he was a musician. That's how he made his living as a musician
Wow.
and classical musician, but and
Cool.
yeah, and then he was a teacher but he was into metaphysical and he got that from his mother and father, I guess.
Wow.
And so that's a passed down to me too. So I kind of had both going at the same time. So I never had a time where I was like, science and spiritualism or doing this.
Yeah,
So
that's nice. My dad was like, and he'd be like, people think they're seeing something in the sun. They're crazy. That's crazy. And I'd be like, yeah, that's crazy because I was a kid. Like, you
yeah,
know,
you're a kid.
it's
Yeah.
interesting because I just grew up to just judge all of it. And so I had to spend a lot of time really deconstructing for myself. That's why I feel very comfortable talking to skeptics about why my experience was real to me. But I
Mhm.
spent so long deciding it was, even with my stepdad. But
Yeah.
my mom did come from a really like religious background. I didn't know till high school that she came from like hundreds of years of ministers on her side.
Oh,
Like
wow.
Wow.
like
That's a
they're in
lot. That's a lot of
books.
religion.
But yeah, seriously. And so it's interesting because like my mom like put it back in, so she converted to Judaism. We were raised Jewish. She went back to Christianity and she loves like the structure of religion, but like on her side, like these kind of mystical experiences that I had are pretty common. Like my aunts and uncles are like one of my uncles was like, I've had a lot of experiences like that. Basically, like, why do you have a website for this? Like, we all have this happen to us. You know,
It's
because
all
it's just
just a
like,
part of life. Yeah.
yeah, it's just
Yeah.
like, but it's, and they came from kind of, anyway, it's just interesting. I wonder if it's just kind of a little bit part of my mom family line, but I wasn't raised in it. So it's like question, 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 question.
Mm.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. I think
Well,
it's in your DNA. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
you brought the scientific side out because a lot of people will connect with that side.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
That's
mean,
true.
yeah, I now I'm so used to this experience. I think it's not weird at all. I live in
Mhm.
Colorado. Like I make jokes. You've probably seen on my YouTube where I'm like, people hear my story and they're like, "Well, you didn't see any aliens, so like what? Like this is a boring story." Not really, but and then I try to tell my skeptical friends like, "Oh, like this is a normal thing," and they're like, "No, that's really weird." What happened? So whatever. I don't
So you're
know.
somewhere in the middle.
In
So
the
yeah.
middle, yeah,
Yeah.
no, yeah.
And it's not like you go out looking for ETs or which you could do in Colorado. They're everywhere.
Yeah, I definitely think I might have had something like it, but I don't necessarily know if that's like my path is to be the one that's talking, Have y'all read
Right.
UFO of God by Chris Bledsoe? Have you heard of him? He's so cool.
Sure.
Yeah, like
I
that's his
love
path
him.
for
I love
sure.
that
Yeah.
I love that the book and the trials and tribulations that he went through.
I
You
know. And that's just so it's such another world. It's so fascinating. And
know.
yes, like everyone here is into that stuff. So that's been kind of cool to learn about because I moved here from Alabama, and so that was not a thing people talked about much there.
Yeah.
Probably not. Yeah, and it is amazing though. It's like when you're in the other world and you say something like that, you can always tell it's just like dead silence and people look at you funny. I always
The
have to crack a
aliens.
joke or, just say,
I was gonna
whatever.
say not so much anymore though.
No, that's what I
Yeah,
was gonna say. It's getting less and less. And the same
it's
thing,
so
yeah.
it's so funny because just last weekend I was at a cast party for my daughter's play and it was all these parents that are just professionals and we're sitting outside at night by the fire and it was like about eight of us around the fire and I'm looking up at the sky like wondering in my head like wonder if I'm going to see any aliens, or ETs. But I didn't say it out loud and then one of the dads who's like a business guy was like I'm looking for aliens up here and I was like,
Oh,
"What?"
cool.
Yes, okay, me too, but I wasn't going to say it.
That is so cool.
Everyone's thinking
I
Yeah.
know, it's so
it.
funny.
Well,
Not,
that is definitely part of the norm. That's really getting there. Like
yeah.
I used to be a nerd or a geek and now I'm just normal.
Yes,
Yay. We
exactly.
just
We're
had to wait a
finally,
little while for
yeah,
people to
Yeah.
catch up to
yeah.
us.
Yeah, that's right. That's it. Yeah, and people even make Star Trek references that, and a lot of people get them because
Yeah.
there's so much Star Trek out there that or Star
I
Wars or
and
whatever.
Yeah.
I made my SG1 reference last night.
Yes, you did. Yeah, I was like
I also have a web.
SG1. I was
I have
like,
a web.
what is
It's not a website. I have a Facebook page
Oh,
that
cool.
I'll get like inspirations to write something and
Oh,
just
that's
write it.
beautiful.
And it's usually hopefully something uplifting, hopefully something that'll make you laugh a little bit. And
Oh,
Yeah.
I just put those out.
Yeah.
oh,
And
that's
And
awesome.
yesterday it was about SG1 and how wonderful we are
yes,
as
we
far
oh
as
we are.
our
That was the
human
other thing.
bodies.
That was the other thing I was going to say that I love this type of get together because everyone, I mean, we're not judgmental at all, which is,
Right.
Mhm.
The
everybody's
future.
open to,
Yeah.
yeah, like this is how it's going to be, but we complement each other so well and easily. And
Yeah.
when you do that in the real world, people are just like, wow, thanks. Like, it's never
Yeah.
happened in my life before, and with
Right.
us, it's just offhand, like, oh, I love you guys, or,
Yeah.
so beautiful, whatever. And, and other people. And so I am hoping that that's bringing up, better energy and
I hope
people
so
around.
too, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, it is. So, yeah. So I'm gonna write that interdimensional guide. I like that.
Yay.
So yeah, so before we go, if you wanted to do it, if there's any kind of channeling that you wanted to do, if not, that's fine. But if
Sure, let's see.
you have a
Let's see what's
message,
coming through for y'all and your
Let's see
audience
what comes through.
specifically. Yeah.
yay!
This is such a good message for your podcast. It's like, look at how lighthearted and joyful, like with a light touch, spirituality can be. So many of us have been taught that it needs to be heavy and serious with a hammer. Um, but it's just as valid, just and even more helpful when you take it with a light touch, when you explore with curiosity and you allow what is to just be. When you lift others up see the gifts that they have as well as your own gifts, you give a gift to the world. Don't stop sharing. Don't stop your podcast. I know you're not going to. I'm hearing you're just getting started and it's going to reach exactly the people it needs to reach. Um,
Oh,
it's oh, and it's like, I know you're just getting started. You don't need a million views to make a difference. They're like, you just need that one person who needed exactly what message you brought through that day.
Mhm.
So that's what I'm hearing for y'all.
well,
Oh,
thank
thank
you.
And
you.
definitely keep going.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. That's what
Well, once you start doing stuff, you just can't stop.
Oh
no.
no. Yeah, because people are
Yeah,
going to start to
no.
want it. Like I was like, maybe I'll stop this channel. And everyone was like, please don't stop doing your
Oh, please
channel. I was
don't
like,
stop.
okay, fine.
No, it's like and sometimes they're too long for what I'm doing. Sometimes it's like, oh, she's done. I was really liking that. So it's too short. So, it depends on what's going on in my life, I
Yeah.
guess. But when we started all this, my guides, the celestial, I call them the celestial helpers. I think, like I said, they're light beings. I feel like they're ETs because they say they're from other planets, and
Oh, cool.
and one of them sent me a picture of himself, and he really looks like an alien. But anyway,
Oh, cool.
but there are many different ones. But anyway, but at the beginning they said the same thing that if and I always say that because I do a weekly channel on my Facebook on the Celestial Helpers on Facebook,
Hmm. Hmm.
and every week it's like even if it just one person reads it and it's what they needed to hear,
Yeah.
that makes me happy. So like we say that about the podcast too. So
Yeah, it's
that's
beautiful.
so cool. And so
Yay.
you do so much good work. I thank you so
Oh.
much for your service. It's like,
Thank you for coming
Oh.
on.
Thank you
yeah,
guys.
so
This was
cool.
really fun. Y'all are awesome. This was so special, and I just appreciate y'all and
Oh,
excited to
thank
see us
you.
both grow, us all grow in our
Yes.
into this. So
Yes. Okay.
yay.
And we'll put the
Excited to
links
get
up
it.
for
I'll
you
check it out.
guys.
Thank you so much. This was really
Thank
special.
you.
Thank
It's
you.
so
Thank you for
cool.
being here with
Thank
us. It was
Yeah.
great.
we thank you guys so much for watching, and make sure that you look up Rebecca Kastl. She is so fantastic. And subscribe, like, share, and thank you. And we love you. Bye.
Bye.